I was not old enough to understand what it meant, but I was old enough to understand how I felt. This defining moment in my life highlights how nobody was born with hate, that hate is taught. We are all made up of a combination of experiences that define who we are. Little did I know that this first experience would lead to a combination of others that would change how I viewed the world forever. I was 11 years old. It was a family Christmas party when my eldest cousin pulled me aside. She had fear in her eyes and tears running down her face. She was terrified that our family would not accept her, that she would be disowned, and that this secret would change her life forever. She had to tell someone, so she told me. She was gay. I visibly sighed with relief because I thought the worst thing that could happen to a 14-year-old in high school was getting pregnant. Little did I know it was the complete opposite. I was so young and I wasn't equipped to help her because I didn't know what it meant. But without even knowing what it meant, I knew that she should always be herself and that I would always love her regardless of who she ended up falling for. That was the moment that I became an ally. I realized later that the fear in her eyes were the fear of many others. The fear of abandonment, the fear of discrimination, and that I wanted to be a part of a movement for change. It ignited my activist spirit, and it changed from just LGBT issues to all social justice issues. I learned about privilege, that as a white woman in America, my voice might not matter as much as a white man to many people, but that because of the color of my skin, I would never know the hardships that many people of color face. The more I learned, the angrier I got and the more empowered I was to use my voice. In my adolescent years, I decided to protest and be vocal. My first rally was August of 2014. I marched with African American women to bring attention to the abduction of 276 Chibok schoolgirls. I realized later that if it was 276 white women, that it's possible that these cries would not even have to be made. The organizers were almost surprised when they saw my white aunts and my white cousin and I show up to this march. My next march was January of 2017. It was the Women's March following a scary election. People were marching for women's rights, for Black lives, for immigrant families, for health care, for climate change. We wanted to make a difference in the world that we were living in. We were terrified for the next 4 years, and people told me to prepare because this march might be violent. I would argue that I felt safer in that crowd of thousands than I ever had before. In closing, my experience handling with someone so close to me, being so scared and ashamed for simply being who they are and loving who they loved, I became drawn to social justice. I educated myself on race, sex, gender, class, intersectional issues of today, and then I took to the streets. I learned the value of organizing and being courageous. I realized and became more conscious of the world around me and the impact of discussing these issues. These experiences, with the help of many strong and intelligent role models in my life, made me the passionate and altruistic woman I am today. Thank you.